of blockbuster films, I usually think of action, explosions, stars, and big set pieces, far away from the world of personal films with contained storytelling. Hoyte van Hoytema is able to tread the delicate line between the two, producing intimate, naturalistic cinematography, which simultaneously tells big, blockbuster stories. Today I'll be looking at the cinematography of Hoyte van Hoytema by analysing his style based on his cinematic philosophy and the technical gear he uses to achieve his look. Van Hoytema is a Dutch-Swedish cinematographer. After growing up in the Netherlands and studying at the National Film School in Lodz, he began living and working as a cinematographer in Sweden. He progressed to shooting larger and larger movies for a collection of well-known directors such as Thomas Alfredson, David O. Russell, Spike Jonze, Christopher Nolan, Sam Mendes, and James Gray. At its core, Van Hoytema's cinematography is based around enhanced naturalism. He creates epic images full of dynamism, character, and texture, which are still based in reality. A good example of this is his approach to shooting VFX work. Whenever possible, he prefers to capture things in camera, without too much VFX, in order to maintain as much naturalism and original texture from the negative as possible. At times, such as a car chase scene on the moon in sci-fi space epic Ad Astra, where plenty of visual effects was required, he still found a way to shoot as much of the effects in camera as possible. Doing it all in CGI would have been boring, and usually doesn't look convincing enough in a film that is effectively shot mostly on real film. We wanted to maintain the quality, feel, and texture. Therefore, he used a 3D rig with two cameras that were both able to capture the same image simultaneously, one 35mm camera and one modified infrared Arri Alexa. Overlaying the two images, they used the infrared image from the Alexa, which rendered the sky and its reflections black, and used the color elements from the rest of the scene from the 35mm negative. Shooting this large budget chase scene as practically as possible gives it a more naturalistic look rather than just shooting elements against a green screen and building the entire scene with VFX. His lighting is also naturalistic. It's motivated by realism and softened to give it its heightened sense of reality. He likes side lighting characters where half of their face is lit and half is in shadow. This motivates where the direction of light is coming from and also gives close-ups more depth. His camera movement is fairly traditional, and as such provides the audience with engaging, familiar camera work that is not alienating or takes viewers out of the story. A large part of Van Hoytema's approach to photography is creating images that are as immersive as possible. The gear that he uses informs how he's able to create such immersive and engaging cinematography. He has an affinity for shooting on film over digital, although he has shot digital on his commercial work and on some films, such as Her. He likes the cinematic texture that shooting on film gives him. Van Hoytema also loves shooting large format film when possible for the visceral perspective it provides, a love he shares with collaborator Christopher Nolan. He shot IMAX with Nolan on Interstellar, Dunkirk, and the upcoming Tenet. On shooting IMAX on Interstellar, Van Hoytema mentioned, "The IMAX image is 1.43:1, so it's more of a square. Because of the size, the experience is more visceral than observational, so you end up composing much more in the center of the frame. You can stay wider while getting the same effect as a close-up." Over the years, he shot large format with cameras such as the IMAX camera, which shoots 15x 65mm, providing an enormous camera negative. For 35mm work, he's used the Panaflex Millennium XL. And digitally, he likes to shoot Arri, using different variations of the Alexa, such as the Mini or the Classic. To a certain extent, I'm always trying to come up with something new in my own eyes, but work methods are like ticks. One gravitates towards what feels safe. This approach applies to his choice of lenses. He shot on a variety of lenses over the years, which include standard as well as customized cinema lenses. Most of his lens choices, however, are rooted in a specific look: older glass with a level of vintage softness and beautiful out-of-focus fall-off around the edges of the image. He enjoys shooting anamorphic or spherical depending on the project, and has used lenses such as a variety of Panavision anamorphic glass, such as C-series, D-series and E-series anamorphics, some of which were specifically tuned by Panavision to create warmer flares. He uses converted Hasselblad still lenses for his IMAX work, as they are able to cover the full negative without vignetting the image. Other spherical lenses include Zeiss Super Speeds and vintage Cook Speed Pancros with the coating removed, which softens up the image and increases flares. He loves shooting handheld and has shot in the style over his career to create a more subjective and engaging experience. On his work with Nolan, he's even managed to shoot handheld with the enormous IMAX camera, which was previously unheard of. Another type of grip rig that he likes to use that provides a visceral perspective are hard-mounted rigs. This is where a camera is rigged in a locked-off shot to a moving vehicle such as a car or a plane, or even to an actor. He mentions how doing this on Interstellar created a kind of IMAX GoPro effect. It let us capture visceral angles that are normally only possible with a GoPro camera, but in 15 perf 65mm. A lot of his naturalistic lighting style is created by pushing large sources through diffusion. For example, he likes to light through windows, supplementing the natural light, and creating light that'll stay continuous throughout a scene, regardless of what the sun does. He likes to use large HMIs, such as 18Ks, pushing them through a half or full grid textile to soften the light. To get them to a warmer daylight color temperature, he likes to add a half or eighth CTO gel, as well as a quarter plus green gel, to emulate the bounce that natural light gets from the plants and trees. He's a fan of using color in his lighting when it can be motivated, such as on films like Her or Ad Astra, as long as the colored lighting is believable and motivated by practical light sources, such as in a spaceship. Through all of these practical techniques, Hoyte van Hoytema creates cinematography that is epic, yet immersive and grounded in reality. He notes that at times his images can even be seen as unromantic. His technique is not always the prettiest or most polished way of doing things, but it gets us closer to the truth. And that's the key of keeping a style consistent over time. He may shoot large movies with huge set pieces, but that doesn't mean his photography is ever wild or out of control. Through prioritizing truth and naturalism over being showy, the films he shoots, no matter what their scale, remain classic, intimate, and immersive experiences. Thanks guys for watching this edition of Cinematography Style. If you have any questions, comments or feedback about the video, please let me know, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, I'd love to hear them. Until next time, thanks very much and goodbye.